welcome back to my channel. It's Terry, and today I'm going to do a couple of repots. Actually, I'm doing 3 repots. One, I am going to repot my Patnara Young Men Orange, which just finished blooming here, and it is in sphagnum, and I know it's not the right time, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's the right time for me. In addition to that, I'm going to repot a couple that I got from Plantio last week. This is the Cattleya Creme Brulee, which is chocolate drop times Cattleya Forbesii. And I'm going to do the Miss Mahler cross with Nodosa. So I am really just going to place these inside bigger pots because these are seedlings and I don't want to disturb the roots too much. You can see they're growing in and around and out and around the pot. So I'll leave those for last since that's going to be really easy. This one I'm just going to take it out of the moss. And again, I should have, you know what, let me just soak this and I'll be back when it's loose. Okay, and I'm back, and as you can see, it's been soaked. So I'm just gonna go ahead and tease this old sphagnum out from the roots. You can see how they greened up really nicely. So even though the plant did look a little bit sad and desiccated inside of the pot, that's just there's these little plastic, little flimsy pots that we all hate. It is much more healthier than it actually appears. And on top of that, it was probably better overall that I sparingly watered it prior to it blooming and during and post the blooms, which have been off the plant for maybe a week now, because these are a little bit susceptible to overwatering when they are not actively growing. And if it were not for the fact that this plant has never been repotted and it's been in this sphagnum and I have no idea how long it's been in this sphagnum moss, then it's a good idea to not let it sit any longer, because spring's growing season is coming up, and today is going to be a beautiful day. It's 60, going to be 60 or close, 50 something. Isn't that shocking? So I actually got out there and filling my buckets with fresh rainwater that is not frozen. So happy day, and I will be fertilizing today with switching to the grow formula. So I'm just going to, I think I'm just going to put it in another little plastic, flimsy, not as flimsy, but pot. Or I think what I could do is use this cone pot, and actually that's what I'm going to do, because it's just, I can use that little plastic pot for these other ones, these little ones that will take hardly anything. So this is an air cone pot. I really like these because you can see there's a little area that's got a drainage in it, but it is raised up to kind of keep the plant, to make sure that the plant gets good drainage in the middle of the plant and keeps the media kind of to the side. So I'm just gonna put a little bit in the bottom and then put the plant in this way. I'm using Orchid. And I put it in this direction because the growth, it just bloomed from this end and it is progressing this way. So I'm leaving as much room as possible for it to continue to fill in the pot and not go over the edge. Put in a little bit of pieces of charcoal in there. And get more bark. And really, that's good enough. You can see there's still plenty of room for it to progress this way in the pot. I'll put the label on, and I can stake this up. That'll make it better. One thing with Cattleyas, orchids in general, to a certain degree, when they are being repotted or remounted, they like to be secure. No flopping around, or else those growths will not, or the new roots will not reach out and be secure in the media, if that makes any sense, if it's constantly jiggling and moving and not firmly grounded. Okay, so that was that one. Now I'm just gonna move on to these other ones, and these are pretty easy. As I said, I'm just really filling them in to a larger size, and this is the Miss Mahler times Nodosa, and what is this planted in? Yeah, it looks like it's just bark. I mean, I could probably jiggle it out, but I'm not going to because I said I wasn't. I am gonna put a few pieces in the bottom there so that it's not all the way, so the lip of it is more level with the edge of the pot. And this bark probably is a little too big, but it'll work because these are Cattleya roots. They're a little bit larger thickness than, say, Encyclia roots. Encyclia roots are more fine, and so finer roots have a more difficult time attaching themselves to bark that is big. They like or prefer more of a either a sphagnum mix or a medium-sized bark, not big bark like this. And I'm hoping you're hearing me because I just noticed I don't even have my microphone hooked up. But I'm pretty much alone in the house. But anyway, that's pretty much what I'm gonna do. And give this plant just a little bit more room to grow, not disturb it so much. You can still see what's going on there. You can still see the bark through there. That is that plant. And for this one, even simpler. I've got this air net, well, it's a net pot. I believe that's what they call it, as opposed to the other one being an air cone. And so I'm pretty much just doing the same thing. If I had some sphagnum, I could put some sphagnum in here as well, but these don't want to be too wet. So bark would probably be better, especially, well, both of these. Not necessarily for the Nodosa, but Nodosa, in fact, they do like to be a little bit drier in the winter, especially when their growths have matured in the summer, and then they bloom. Typically, they bloom sometime during the early spring, late winter, early spring. So they're putting up their growths from those sheaths that they have been working on all winter or all summer into the winter. And Miss Mahler has, I know it has either Tigrina in it or Guttata, which is a bifoliate that likes the same kind of conditions. And this one is a species, this is a, well, it has Chocolate Drop, which again is, has Guttata in it. And maybe even a Calandii. Is it Guttata times a Calandii? Probably, I'm not sure right at this moment. Because at some point these bifoliates tend to blend in together, the Tigrinas and the Leopoldii and the Utatas and the bicolors, and you know, it just keeps going on and on and on and on. Clandii. So, but anyway, this is chocolate drop, I already said, and then Cattleya Forbesii, which is a species that I love. It's one of my favorite Cattleya species, and I have known that plant to appreciate a little bit of a drier winter. So, bark mix, to make a long story short, bark mix is much preferred for these plants once they get above a seedling size. I mean, these are still seedlings, but in my conditions, I water out of bounds a lot, and so that these plants would not respond well. So it's best to plant them in a media that will have more drainage than not. And that, my folks, is my repot of 3 Cattleya crosses. Thanks for watching. This has been an edition of An Orchid a Day. Appreciate you all. Enjoy your orchids. Bye.